Good day, folks. Welcome back to another tying video. Got a neat little damsel pattern for you here. So we'll just jump right into it. Go ahead and get started. Got a 14 curved nymph hook in the vise, and I'll start tying with fluorescent chartreuse 70 denier tying thread. So I'm just going to go ahead and get my thread attached here. And then the first material I'm going to tie in is some light olive scudback. And I've just kind of trimmed this scudback to a bit of a point here. So what you want to do is just as close to the eye as you can, just kind of grab a hold of this scudback and just lock it in with a couple wraps like so, and then you can flip it forward and same thing, just get a couple wraps onto it and that'll hold that in. Next we're going to make some mono eyes, and I'm not sure if I've done a video on this yet or not, so I'll just go ahead and do it here. I've just got a chunk of mono in my hackle pliers, and just going to come in, just barely touch that fire to the mono and just melt those eyes down. And I've done a ton of these, so I just kind of gauge for myself how wide I want the eyes to be, but you can do them further apart, closer together, whatever you like. And so then I'm going to get these tied in next, and same thing, we want these right up near the eye, as close as you can get, and just try to center them the best you can. And you can just do some figure 8 wraps to get those tied in, whatever your personal preference is. If your scudback's too long and getting in the way, just trim it off. So I'll get some wraps on here, gathering wraps to lock everything together, and that looks pretty good there. If you really want to secure things, you can just put a dab of super glue on top of there, and that'll make things nice and durable for you. So now I've got some chartreuse or light olive, whatever you might have, marabou, and I'm just showing you this feather because you want the super kind of fluffy stuff. So these longer fibers here are what we're going for, and I'm just going to take a small pinch of those off the stem, and then just kind of stroke them together, and about halfway down snip them off. This is just going to lead to less bulk on the body. So grab those right in behind the eye, and then just wrap, touching wraps down to the back there. And I like to throw one wrap in underneath just to keep that marabou propped up. And you can come in and just kind of trim that to length, and don't need a super long tail on this pattern, so that should be all right there. And we'll come right back to the butt again. And what I've got is some more of this tapered synthetic quill from Canadian Llama. Been loving this stuff, and so I'll go ahead and just get this tied in right at the very back. Grab that, pull down on those thread wraps to compress that, and then we'll just nice and smooth all the way up. I'm just going to spin my bobbin, flatten everything out, and I'll go down and back one more time. Make sure I've got everything covered up. And just start to build a little bit of a taper here. Not much, but that's about all we need. So now I'll take this quill and just segment my body. That looks pretty good there. Go ahead and tie that off. Nice tight wraps. Trim that quill out. It's looking pretty good so far. Okay, now what I've got is a chartreuse straggle, UV straggle, and see me use this in a few different patterns. And so this is going to be the thorax and the legs for this one. So we're just going to get it tied in just like so, and then you'll leave your thread kind of right there. Make sure you can throw it over top and just put it in front, and then we're just going to give 2 wraps behind the eyes. I'm going to come underneath and go over top, and then underneath and over top to the other side. And then once it's up top here, come with your thread and just cross straight over. Try to pull everything forward as best you can on this step, so you don't trap too many of those fibers. Now you've got that tied off, you can pull that out of there. And I'm just going to give it a bit of a haircut for the next step, just right on top. You want everything else along the sides and that kind of thing there. So that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to take this scud back and pull that straight over to form the head on the fly. And I just kind of make sure it's centered on top there, and then you can whip finish right there. So come in here, a couple turns, finish it off. And if you get anything blocking your eyes, trim it out. Just make the next steps a little bit easier. So just kind of pull that down out of the way. Now with this wing case, I chop it off about halfway or so down the body. Leave that little tag there. And then I'm just going to come in. Don't have to do this step, but I just like the way it looks. Probably for me more so than the fish. We'll trim a little V-notch in there. So you got something like that. And then the last step, just like to come in and just color these eyes with a black Sharpie. Just so they stand out a little more. And there it is. So that's about all there is to that one. Pretty simple little damsel. You can put some UV resin on the quill body before you kind of tie the head and the rest of the steps, but you can see that that quill body is quite a bit different. It's the same insect green I've used on the buzzer video, but by changing the thread underneath, it really changes the look of the material. So there is the little damsel, and hope you enjoyed that one. Give it a tie, fish it, let us know how it does for you, but that's all there is to it. So thanks very much for watching. Give us a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't, and until the next one, cheers and tight lines.